So we have our lower mandible final impression with the male processing caps in place. And as I showed earlier, I would extend the block out. And this is what we're doing now. We're going to extend the block out roughly around the distal of 6. I'm not on the screen. Well, that's not going to work, is it? You would have let me go for 20 minutes before you... Okay. That was on this screen. So I'm going to recap again, as redundant as it may sound, once my screen comes on. It's getting there. Oh. So, like I said, at the risk of sounding redundant, we have our preliminary impression. Usually alginate stock tray of the abutments in the patient's mouth. Alginate impression was taken, poured. I made my custom tray, and I left enough room for the impression copings to be picked up to make my master model. So I blocked out enough space here for my impression copings. And then the practitioner took the final impression with the impression copings in place. Here they used a light body and a heavy body. And from this impression, we put inside here our abutment replicas and made our master model. With the abutment replicas, I put on the male processing caps. And then I've proceeded to put on the block out for our mesh denture base, because we're going to make a metal frame. And here I have a metal frame created already. The metal frame will have tissue stops contacting the tissue, block out for a spacer for acrylic to go underneath the metal framework, and the block out will be removed from the top of the caps. So we have an intimate contact between our wax up and our caps. The chrome framework and the caps have an intimate contact. I need to seal the block out wax so it's not lifting in my duplication process. I would seal the lingual, and I've over blocked out because I know that the metal framework, how narrow it was, is not going to be as wide as my block out. I need to seal the block out on the labial and the lingual of my model. If your model is a little wet because you just poured it, dehydrate your model in the oven, because your block out wax won't stick to a wet model, which I'm sure you all know by now. And we don't want it lifting in the duplication process. If I'm using a silicone duplication, I can go straight off and duplicate this. If I'm using a hydrocolloid duplication, I need to soak my model in water 5 minutes as to not dehydrate in the flask. So I need to soak the model, and get ready for hydrocolloid duplication, pour my refractory model. Once my refractory model is made, we'll reconvene here and talk about the wax up that we're going to do today, as well as investing, spruing, and casting today. We're going to get our refractory model and locate our wax grid lines here for our mesh metal strengthener for this case. Is there any questions right now?